You join me inside the 2021 Mercedes-AMG E63 S Super Sedan. This is a mid-cycle refresh for 21, which means it's not a complete redesign. You don't have an all-new platform. There's not an all-new engine. Wouldn't worry about that last part though, because you still have the fire-breathing 4-liter bi-turbo V8. Instead, you're going to get things like restyled front and rear end designs. You will have an improved suspension and, importantly, an upgrade to the interior technology. We're going to check all of that out today in this review and see how it competes, or perhaps better competes, against vehicles like the BMW M5 Competition, Audi RS7, and Porsche Panamera Turbo. That's today on Miles Per Hour. And there it is. The 2021 Mercedes-AMG E63 S 4MATIC Plus Sedan. I got it all out. I'm very proud of myself. And this one right here is painted in the optional Designo Brilliant Blue Magno, aka matte blue paint. And somehow they've given a metallic flake to a matte paint. It's fantastic. Beautiful paint color. Potentially worth the $4,000 to someone. Now, before I get too deep into this review, a couple quick things. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. You'll be getting access to daily videos, POV day drives, POV night drives, live Q&As, and reviews like this one. So hit subscribe, hit the bell to get notified. As of this filming, we are like right on the cusp of 100,000 subscribers, which is incredible. I'm so grateful. And I promised I would tell you guys how I get all these cars when I hit 100,000 subscribers. So we may actually have hit it by the time I've made this video, which means I'm working on the video. But I will tell you how I do it and how potentially you could do it as well. So that's coming. And if you've been a fan of the channel and you want to support us, you can do so simply by liking, sharing, and commenting on the video. Or if you want to help out monetarily, we super duper appreciate it. You can do it by either purchasing a Miles Per Hour t-shirt or mug or sticker or something, or by becoming a patron. Get some perks for you and keeping us going. However you want to support, we really appreciate it, and we will keep the new cars coming at you. Speaking of, let's get back into the 2021 E63 S 4MATIC Plus wagon sedan. Almost had it. Looking at the front end, here's where we're going to see the most distinctive trait about the mid-cycle refresh on the 2021 model. It's by adopting the Panamera grille that is now on all of the 21 Mercedes-AMG vehicles. Now it's here on the E63. Honestly, I prefer the 2020 model year's grille. It's a bit more subtle. This is brash and in your face, and I realize a lot of these cars, these high performance sedans and wagons and all that, and SUVs are going that direction. I just prefer the subtle personally, but this 13 vertical slat Panamera grille now houses an even larger TriStar crest in it that's going to contain some of the active safety features, but they were not able to contain the front-facing camera, so it just looks like an appendage, a parasite tacked on to that TriStar crest. Interesting. And then up here above that, just in case you weren't sure it's a Mercedes-Benz, you can look just right above that for a more subdued, classier, textured logo. That's pretty neat. I like the shark nose face. I just still kind of prefer the last iteration of the more subtle front end. These LED headlights are all new design. And on this model, we have the advanced lighting package, which means they are adaptive LEDs, including adaptive high beams. There's a lot going on here. Look at this. We got like these two things coming out here. We got this on the side, that's for the daytime running lights, along with this daytime running light here. Something going on in there. We got a, what does it say? Multi-beam LED. That's what they're calling the new headlight housings. And then we got Mercedes-Benz on the side. I like the detail, that's cool. But yeah, it's like a brain just going on just in the headlights. Down here at the front, large air inlets on either side of that grille. And then this car has the 2 optional carbon fiber packages. The breakdown of which carbon fiber pieces are on which package kind of eludes me. I think the mirror caps are on the exterior carbon fiber 2 package, and the trunk lip spoiler is carbon fiber 2 package. That means 1 is all the other things, question mark? I'm not sure. But anyway, we've got a front lip spoiler here in carbon fiber that's looking good. This also has the AMG Night package, so instead of this being, I think it would have been a chrome piece, this is in black. So you got black and carbon fiber. So you got the AMG Night and the carbon fiber 2 packages, 1 and 2. Moving to the side now. Better look at that shark nose there. And the optional 20-inch forged alloy, get my shadow out of it, do it that way. Forged alloy matte black wheels. They're $2,000 and they look fantastic. I like it with the blue and the carbon fiber and all that. That's a nice combo. And then bronze carbon ceramic brakes. Those are an option, almost $9,000 for those. 6-piston front, single piston floating rear, 15.4-inch front rotor size, 14.1-inch for the rear rotors. Good looking wheels, and they're wrapped in Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires, size 265 front, 295 rear. Plenty of grip. One of the details of carbon fiber on the exterior of this car, instead of this being chrome, that's now carbon fiber. You can see V8 bi-turbo, 4MATIC Plus badging down here, carbon fiber side sill. AMG Night package is going to give you the black window surrounds. That's good, like that, but you still get chrome for the top of your door handles, which I think the black there would have looked weird, so I'm good with that. The silhouette, it's a mean machine. Looks very executive, powerful. You can see the rear drive proportions, bringing that greenhouse towards the rear of the car, emphasizing, even though it's an all-wheel drive vehicle, you do have the rear drive only drift mode in this car. There's no front wheel drive only mode. That wouldn't make any sense. Getting to the back, we're going to see some more of the tweaks for the mid-cycle refresh here. They have changed the taillights. Interestingly, what kind of started as a design on the A-Class and has worked its way up. Now the new S-Class has this design. The E-Class now has it. Usually goes top down, trickle down, but now it kind of worked from the bottom up. But I like it. I like the rear end. The rear 3/4 is a good look. This, I think, has been improved for the 21 versus the 2020. I like the rear end better in this car. Moving to the back now, fully on the back. We can come up close and see E63 S badging. Carbon fiber for that lip spoiler. That looks really nice. I like that. And then the taillights up close. It's a cool pattern to them. And the turn signals are going to be amber down here. At night, these look particularly good. Let's see if I can show you some B-roll of that. Chrome strip along the back. TriStar badge. AMG on the other side. Down here, we're going to see more of the carbon fiber exterior package, the treatment on the upper portion of this new redesigned diffuser for 21, then the trapezoidal exhaust ports in black. You can see they're real exhaust ports. There are 4 of them. They're just oddly shaped in there, so these finishers have to kind of like complete the powerful picture, and they do that quite well. So that's the exterior design of the 2021 Mercedes-AMG E63 S 4MATIC Plus sedan. I just wanted to show off and do it all one more time. Say it all one more time. And now it's time to look at the interior. On our way in, we'll note we've got smart key access, so you can leave the key in your pocket to unlock the door. You're just going to pull on the handle to lock it. You'll put your thumb right there on that indent. And we have that at all 4 door handles. So maximum convenience. All right, opening up, looking inside. Mostly carried over from the 2020 model, but we do have some important updates. One, that steering wheel that I'll get into a second. I'll get into a second, and then a third, and then a fourth. I don't know. And then the MBUX infotainment system, which isn't new for Mercedes-Benz, but it's new for the E-Class, and it's a significant improvement. Looking at these seats, we've got standard leather and Alcantara with multi-way power adjustments, heating and ventilation. This one also has the yellow contrast piping and stitching on the seat, which is, I think it's an okay combo with the blue. Sort of an odd pairing when you look at that and then you look at the bronze-ish brake calipers, but hopefully you're not connecting the dots there too often. But the seats themselves are very comfortable. The leather is high quality, got perforation in there, AMG plaque right there, and then the AMG crest embossed on the headrests. Controlling the seat means you're gonna have to put your hand over here on the door panel to adjust the headrests, the seat back, seat bottom, and then the thigh support. That one's always a fun one for me. There are your heating and ventilation controls. I'll note that on this model right here, we have the carbon fiber interior package, which is almost $3,000 right there. One no-cost feature here is gonna be the Burmester sound system. It's not the upgraded Burmester 3D sound system, I believe. It's just the standard Burmester speakers with some unknown wattage. I cannot remember off the top of my head. It's a good system. I'm not an audiophile, so I'll just leave it at that. It's a good system. The door trim is all very nice. We've got leather up top where you're gonna rest your elbow, that yellow contrast stitching there. The carbon fiber is high gloss. Looks very nice. You've got 3-position memory seats, and then we have this aluminum trim piece down here. More of that yellow contrast stitch, and this is a squishier leather here. More squishy for your elbow to rest there. And then an aluminum door handle. There's your lock and unlock in there. Right here are gonna be your window switches. This, I'll note, is some pretty cheap plastic, but I don't think you'll be touching this specifically all that often. You'll be touching the switches themselves. All auto one-touch, or all one-touch up-down. There are your door mirror adjustments, and you can power fold them with that button right there. Down below here is going to be a trunk release button. One touch, and that one you're gonna have to hold to go down, just like their SUVs. And then in here, you'll have some cubbies, one for a water bottle. We'll see how big of a bottle we can fit in there. And then this is just sort of a general cubby in there. So there's your doors. Looking very nice. Also, one small detail that I love, the knurled finish on the door lock or unlock release. All right, let's hop in. No soft closed doors here, so you will have to fully close them yourself, but they do sound nice and solid. Then looking around the cabin, we got the new steering wheel here. This flowy carbon fiber trim in here with the 4 circular air vents. They kept the circular here on the E-Class. It has gone to, I think, rectangular on the new S-Class. Sunroof, not pano. And now let's get into some more details here. So I'm gonna fire up the car. To do that, I'll press this start stop button right here. I like the design on the outside of the start stop. Fires up. Okay, long chime for the intro. You can already see the ambient lighting going here. It's pretty cool. And that carbon fiber just does extend all the way around the dashboard and onto the center console. That's pretty cool. So yes, it's expensive, but the carbon fiber looks so sweet. Very sporty. And the yellow contrast stitching as well flows all the way on the upper part of the dashboard. You can see it running along the rim up there, below the windshield, and then around, decorating around. It almost looks like a racetrack right there. That's weird. That was just supposed to be in my head, but I said it out loud. There you go. And then along the passenger side dashboard. All right, looking at this new wheel, we've got these 2 branches coming off either side of that airbag cover there. And these are in piano black with aluminum borders that look high class. That's all good. We've got this bottom branch in aluminum as well with the leather for the bottom and Alcantara, what AMG calls Dynamica trim at 9 3, leather for the top, yellow contrast stitching around. The only thing about the wheel that doesn't look upscale is the center, which is injection molded. No leather, no contrast stitching, crazy reflective TriStar there, whatever. But I just wish that was leather. It would be more cohesive with the premium nature of this cabin. Apart from that, it's all fine. Looking at the functions themselves, these are all going to be touch control functions. Some you are actually going to press, but touch control for the swiping of controlling the left-hand display, your gauge cluster, and then these controls on the right control your infotainment in the center. This is a twin uniform housing. They call it a surfboard, Mercedes-Benz name for it, and twin 12.3-inch displays now operating the new MBUX software. Such a huge improvement over the command infotainment from the 2020 model. I'll get more into that, but it's just a huge leap, massive upgrade. So these controls here, the things I like about them, the things I don't. The things I like is because they're flush, they kind of just blend in apart from the icons, and that's cool. What I don't like is that they work most of the time. Like your swipes are registered most of the time, but in instances where your hands may be a little clammy or the system just doesn't want to work at that very second, it won't pick up on what you ask it to do, and that just gets kind of frustrating. With a scroll or a dial or an actual button, whatever you do is going to be processed. You know it's going to be picked up by the system. Swiping, you're like, there's still an element of hope there. You still hope that it actually picks up and does what you ask it to do, but sometimes it just doesn't. And that, again, can get kind of irritating. I wish they perhaps had waited until these were perfect to integrate it on their cars. I know that they've been doing this for a couple of years now and has gotten better, but better is still not perfect. Let's wait until it's perfect. Mercedes-Benz. I mean, too late, it's already here. So I guess you just get used to it. Up here, we, as I said, have controls for this display. You can completely customize what you're looking at for the gauge cluster. So we're gonna go home here. And then I think what we're looking at right now is the Super Sport display, yes, but there's Classic. And there, you know, it's kind of frustrating. Whenever you select whatever you want your display to look like, you then have to swipe back over to choose a different one. So Classic, kind of basic there. Sports, basic but with yellow accents. Nice. And then I gotta go do this again. Understated. Understated is fun because it'll make that right screen go blank as well. Just really calming you, subduing the cabin quite a bit. And all you're gonna see is your speed and then a clock on the right-hand side. And finally, standard displays. You don't want to be standard though. I personally like the Super Sport one the best, the one I started with. I think it looks cool. So those are your displays. What you can change within the displays themselves are pretty fun. So you swipe over and then you can choose, do I want to show just the tach? Do I want to show my active safety features? Do I want to show a map? Consumption, G-meter, ooh, that's fun. My settings for my drive mode, boost, power and torque, actively displayed, my PSI, and then your tach. So that's what you can show on the right. On the center is going to be more of the same, and the left is going to be more of the same of what you're able to show. But it's just neat that you can customize. So whatever you want to be looking at, you can have it automatically pop up there when you start up the car at your will. And you can change the left one as well. Again, when these work. That time I swiped, didn't swipe, didn't want to work. Most of the time they do. All right, and you can have one thing take over the whole display if you want. You can have the map take over the whole thing. You can have your media take over the whole thing, whatever you want. Very customizable. That is the gauge cluster. One other note on the steering wheel, 2 other notes. These paddles, very interesting. They aren't just a single piece of metal slapped on the back. They aren't small. And it's not a single piece of metal. They design these paddles to look almost kind of like an E. It's like, yeah. They got the 3 prongs back there. And it's thick, and it's real aluminum, and that's high quality. Again, 99% of the wheel design is high quality. Why isn't this leather? Looking at the paddles, you can see the designs back here. Travel of the paddle is not that much, but it's got a clear click that it's accepted the downshift or upshift up to the right. These gear stocks, cheaper plastic for sure. Turn signal isn't too annoying. The right stock over here is going to be your gear selector, like all Mercedes-Benz vehicles. So we can pull up to go to reverse, and that will bring us to all of our different camera angles here, including a bird's eye 360 view off to the left-hand side. Then we have a narrow back view, a triple wide back view, side views, narrow front, wide front, and then a parking function. You do have self-parking for this car with parallel parking situations. Pull down for drive, press in for park. That's your gear stock there. And one note on the carbon fiber trim is just that if you know carbon fiber, it's a very rigid material, very useful, very lightweight, but it also means that it doesn't have much give to it, and that might also lead to some creaking. There's just a tiny bit of creaking on these trim panels. I don't know if that's the same as it would be, you heard it there, as it would be for if you got wood inlays as opposed to the carbon fiber, but there's just a bit of creaking. You might notice that. It's not the end of the world. Just thought I would point it out. Now it's time to look at the infotainment and to really appreciate the latest MBUX system, which is such a vast improvement over Command, the system of the 2020 model year. So now we've got this trackpad here, more real estate than the Command function, and it's more responsive, better hotkeys. I like that. So you can use the trackpad. You can, of course, touch the infotainment, of course. And then we do have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard, but importantly, they are not wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, like so many 2021 model year luxury vehicles. BMW just comes to mind. It is not wireless, so you are going to have to plug in that port right there, that USB-C port. That's going to be how you'll access CarPlay or Android Auto, and then it will show up on the infotainment. But I'm just bummed because you can't, I mean, there's a wireless smartphone charging pad right there. That's great, but you can't just throw your phone in there and use CarPlay. You'll have to plug it in. You also have a DC socket here, which will be useful, I guess, if you have a radar detector or something like that. Then you've got your key here, which is kind of standard AMG key, standard Mercedes-Benz key, but with the AMG on the bottom, aluminum trim, trunk release, unlock, lock, TriStar badge in the center, AMG crest on the back. It's pretty neat. And aluminum bottom, but the piano black, smudgy. Don't like that. Press that down, AMG up on the top there. Back to the infotainment. The navigation system is going to be pretty darn responsive and high resolution. The graphics here are great. Radio controls, media controls, comfort. So we don't have massaging seats, but we do have seat kinetics, which is going to be a standard feature that will allow you to let the seat make micro adjustments while you're driving to kind of keep you fresh. It's pretty neat. Here's how you'll also access your ambient lighting. You can change the color. We do have 64 colors. You can choose any of those by just scrolling around the wheel here. You can see the change there. And then I'll show you some of the night drive ambient lighting. Pretty neat. And then you can also choose a multicolor arrangement, one of these pre-selects. Ocean blue, purple sky, red moon, fire red, dawn blue. I'm not going to read them all, okay? But you can choose one of those if you don't want to pick just one color. You can have a multicolor effect. Cool. AMG track pace. If you are going to be tracking your Mercedes-Benz vehicle, it's going to give you this warning. Don't use this on the road, yada, yada, yada. You can do lap timing. You can do drag racing. You can have some telemetry data. And then we can go into AMG's performance monitor. This you can use on the road. It's going to give you some information about the vehicle. You got a G meter here. That's going to show you the power split. Where's it going? Where's it all going? It can take over your whole monitor if you want. the engine data, give you the active horsepower and torque that you're using along with your temperatures, critical temperatures and levels. Consumption, you don't want to go on that display. You're not going to be happy. And then dynamic select. Here's where you can configure your individual mode. So as you're going through the scroll wheel, when you get to individual, it'll pull up all of your presets that you have put in here. How do you want the drivetrain? How do you want the transmission? Manual or auto? The dynamics, the chassis control, the suspension, how stiff or how firm. The exhaust system, do you want it balanced or powerful? Do you want it quiet or loud is the English version of that. And then you've got some Mercedes-Benz Me and apps. You can use some of these apps to find local eateries and weather and traffic and all that. More vehicle settings are going to be in here. I like the quick access one, so you can just turn on and off lane keeping assist and steering assistance and all those good stuff, all that good stuff right here. You can go more in depth to customize your active driving assistance features. More customization for the car, lighting settings. Redundant here, having ambient lighting controls here as well. Oh, well, that was the exterior lighting, my mistake. System and all that. Okay, so that's your MBUX system. You can go down and you can create a theme for yourself or select one of the presets and your favorites down below there. So as you can see, very customizable, does have gesture control. You can assign those two gestures to things, just like BMW's iDrive system. That's MBUX, very user-friendly, such an improvement. Moving on down here, we've got our climate controls. I like that these are physical buttons, or toggles in this case. Toggle up and down the climate, it will show up there. Auto buttons, vent buttons, menu, that'll just pull up a climate menu. And of course, your heating and ventilation are going to be up there on the door panel, so you won't find those buttons here. And you've got some hotkeys for navigation for the car settings for all that. Here, we're going to have a toggle for your drive mode. If you don't want to use this wheel right here, there's a redundancy here. I guess if your hand was already resting here and you wanted to do that, I just think this is so much cooler, so I would use that. Suspension settings of 2 levels. Manual mode. Traction control button. So again, all of these are redundancies for what you're going to have right on the steering wheel if you don't want to take your hands off the wheel. The exhaust button, that used to be found on the steering wheel. Now, that is just here, and I prefer that because that's a set it and forget it thing. I just want to make it loud all the time. Volume dial, and that park button. Looking inside the center console, so this button is very cheap, but everything else feels really nice. Got that yellow contrast stitching on the center console. It is a twin fold center area. Mentioned the 2 USB-C ports, and they included in here for me a USB to USB-C to Lightning. Oh, nice. Look at that. Because you're going to need that to use Apple CarPlay. Looking over the passenger side, with carbon fiber goes all the way across here. Down here is going to be injection molding, so not hard plastics, but that is injection molding. And then in here, oh, we've got the fragrance-o-meter. Official name for it, I'm not sure. I don't want my car pumped with fragrance personally, but if that is your preference, you may choose to have that, and they've got a bunch of different fragrances for you. Up here, we've got a borderless rear view mirror. It's a good size, I like that. And then we've got interior lighting, all LEDs. Press that there. They illuminate. Your sunroof controls can be found here. You can tilt it up, pull it down. It's a pretty fast sunroof. Not a big wind deflector here. Of course, this panel is that, but it's not, doesn't have that netted piece. And it's not the largest sunroof in the world. Doesn't extend to those back seats, but it is useful. Your headliner is not going to be that Alcantara material. It's just going to be a fabric panel. The sun visor is good size. Nice size vanity mirror. Oh my gosh, pulling these, every time I feel like I'm going to break it. For whatever reason, Mercedes-AMG vehicles, it's like that. Look how far that slides back. Look at that. I don't know what you're going to cover. That the sun's not going to get through over there, but it does slide back very, very far. That's nice. One knock right here. I wish that was wrapped in leather or injection molded or something. That's just hard plastic. I guess they're not expecting you to grab that all that often. And with that, let's hop into the rear seats and see what we're working with my driving position. Okay, looking inside. The door panels are going to be just like the front, so we're going to have a carbon fiber inlay. The Burmester speaker covers look so cool. The yellow contrast stitching, the genuine leather inserted in there, leather in there, and then injection molding down here. I don't know if I mentioned on the front door, but yeah, transitions from leather to injection molding down here. So it's not hard plastic. That's very important. This is not hard plastic here or in the front door panel, but it is injection molding. You've got a nice big cubby back here. Well, it's actually not that big. You've got a cubby back there. Look at that. One-touch controls for the windows. And then an aluminum door handle. So the seats are very nice leather. You don't have AMG crest like you do on the front seats. You do have the same Alcantara inserts on the outside and then the perforated leather on the inserts. And that feels good. The yellow contrast stitching and piping looks good. AMG floor mats. This back here is going to be injection molding. Again, not hard plastic, very important. I would prefer injection molding to hard plastic, and it's okay then that this is a transition from leather to injection molding because it's not as bad. That's going to be a slot for you to put some envelopes. Someone's been honking like non-stop recently, so I'm going to get in the car. See how the sound insulation is in here. Oh, much, much better. Okay, looking at the back of the center console, we've got our air vents circular, just like at the front. That's pretty nice. Down here, we're gonna have a pocket that opens up and reveals, interestingly, just a DC socket down there. And that's hard plastic. This whole pack piece here is hard, scratchy plastic. No likey that. But looking at the dashboard from back here, that just looks so classy, especially with the ambient lighting showing up right now. All right, so we have this pull down panel here, armrest, press that in. You've got a very narrow slot in here. I'm not sure what you would put back there, maybe a smartphone. And then you've got two pop out cup holders. I like the action, folding out, that's fun. And that's all in leather, including this piece right here. That is all leather. That's very nice. Very, very nice. Okay, let's check out the trunk. Pop it up. Look inside. Decent sized real estate in here, 13 cubic feet of space. Pretty on par for the segment. Carpeting, not the highest quality, not thick carpeting or anything like that. The trunk, they save some money back here, let's put it that way. Below here, we're not gonna have a full-size spare or even a donut. We are gonna have some tools, and I'm wondering where the inflation kit. I think this is a foldable organizer back here. Maybe the inflation kit's in there. First aid kit, that is not the inflation kit. Inflation kit might be beneath here. Let's see, can I raise it up? Yeah, the inflation kit's down there. Look at that. That's cool. That's a deeper cubby. Not sure what you would put in there, but hey, you've got the option. Don't get. Okay. I'll fix that later. I will fix that later. You've got some tabs right here that you can pull to fold down the seats, but unfortunately, pulling the tabs will not just fold down the seats. You're gonna have to either reach in there and push on them, which, hey, you can at least do. And that's what your cargo capacity will expand to. Of course, it is a narrow slot right through there, so you're not gonna get any tall items in there, but long items, yeah, no problem. If you're gonna be grabbing 2x4s from Home Depot, you can do that from back here. All right. Like I said, I'll figure this out later for the trunk. But it does have a power close button, and the lock button on the other side of that one will close and lock the car. But you know what? I'm just getting antsy here. I want to go drive it. So clearly, I just want to go drive it. But first, we have to do our big bottle test. So important. So let's see about these front cup holders here. Will it fit in the front cup? Nope, not a chance. Center console looked a little on the small side. Will it fit? Oh, it's close. It's close. No, that's not going to fit. Guys, it's not going to fit. Door pocket, our last hope. Oh, yes. It fits in the door pocket. You've been saved. 21 AMG E63. You have been saved. Don't need to try the glove box because it fits in the door pocket. Passes the big bottle test. And now, finally, it's time to rev it up and go for a drive. All right, guys, why mess around? Let's go into launch control mode. The way we're gonna do that is to hit the traction control button, going into sport handling mode, crank over this dial to race mode. Then from there, all you gotta do is put your foot on the brake, hold it, give it some gas, race start, let go. Oh, okay. All right. Don't know why the parking sensors were going off, but I mean, I would be startled too. That was fast. If I did that right, then I hit 60 miles an hour in just 3 seconds flat. And if I kept my foot in it, I'd see 186 miles an hour. All right, let's crank it down to Sport Plus for this set of twisties, turned back on traction control. Let's be responsible here, okay? And then let's go for it. I'm also gonna put it in manual mode because I wanna operate my own paddles. All right, okay, yeah, spicy. Good brakes, my goodness, these carbon ceramics are so nice. Quick shifts. Oh, that exhaust sounds nice. Performance exhaust, yes please. Man, the brakes are good. Okay, very planted in these corners. Yes, 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 and more yes. I enjoyed that. Okay, so probably just gonna flip it around and do that again. So let's talk about what that was right there, besides fun. So we have a 4-liter bi-turbo V8 under the hood. It's the same one as the 2020 model year. That means it still makes 603 horsepower and 627 pound-feet of torque. No increases, but I mean, that's plenty of power. Let's try this turning radius, shall we? Let's see what we got here. Crank it and go for it. That wasn't the best. It was okay. It wasn't the best. All right. So that's the powertrain. The way it's getting to all 4 wheels, go back into auto mode, is via a 9-speed multi-clutch automatic gearbox. And as I said, power sent all 4 wheels. You can fiddle with that a little bit. You can make more power bias to the rear wheels, and that's kind of how the drivetrain is set up. It's set up more rear drive bias than front drive bias, but it will distribute power to those front wheels if needed. You also have an electronic limited slip differential at the rear to kind of jog power between those 2 rear tires. And you know what? Let's just gonna go right back into it because I'm at a set of twisties again. As I turned around, what a surprise. Kick it down, manual mode. Yes. All right, now I'm noting a little more about the steering. The turn-in is immediate, but there's just not a lot of feedback through this wheel. I'm wanting more. You know, you get a sense of what's going on, but it feels muted or filtered in some way. That's a bit of a bummer, but man, these Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires are so grippy. That felt very easy. Very, very easy what we just did. And I don't know if it's supposed to. That could perhaps give you a false sense of security and ability as a driver. But that felt very easy. And I think part of that is, let's go back into auto mode. Part of that is the fact that I wasn't getting a strong sense through the steering wheel. It wasn't perhaps engaging me quite as much as it could have. But I mean, there's no arguing with that performance. It is feisty, to say the least. And the transmission is excellent. Holds the gears. Shifts are very quick, both in manual and auto mode. No complaints there. And the suspension, the improvements that they've made for 21 mean that the ride quality, even in something like Sport Plus, I can go down now to sport mode, is going to feel more compliant. It's going to absorb the road bumps and bruises quite a bit better than before. The only complaint I have now with this revised suspension, it's not any different from the 2020 E63 that I drove very recently. I'm gonna go over some bumps here just to see how it feels. Yeah.
So that was not uncomfortable for me as a driver. The issue I have, it's a small one, is that I could hear those bumps very clearly. So my body hearing those bumps thinks I should be disrupted, I should be uncomfortable. But I'm not actually uncomfortable, I just hear them. And that stands as a contrast to the rest of this cabin noise, which is so minimal thanks to the fact that we have the acoustic comfort package, which means you've got laminated glass all around me. So the wind and road noise is very minimal. I'm doing 57 right now. It's dead silent in here. That's luxury car stuff right there. That is solid, no problems there. Why the suspension bumps and the harshness of the road I'm hearing, I'm not sure. That could be one thing they could work on, but now the improvements to the feel through the suspension is significant, substantial. I'm very pleased with that. And so now let's continue on the avenue of how is it as a luxury car. Okay, so it's quiet. These seats are very comfortable. I know I talked about in the interior walk around, the fact that you can't adjust the bolsters. I wasn't sloshing around at all in those seats at a performance standpoint, and now that I'm cruising, no issues. These are very, very comfortable. The heating and ventilation is nice. I don't have massaging here, but you know what? You can have the kinetic, whatever it does to move around the seat if you want to feel fresh after a long drive. This would be a perfect car to commute in / bomb through some canyon roads as I have done today. And yeah, that's all good. You also have the driver assistance package on this model, which means you get adaptive cruise control with steering assist and a lane change assist and speed limit information, automatic emergency braking. All that is bundled in one nice package instead of splitting it into two as BMW does, for example. And that means that it's going to keep you pretty relaxed during your commute because you can allow the car to do its own steering, and it's such a good active steering and adaptive cruise control system. It stays within the lane, it doesn't ping pong you at all. The progress that Mercedes-Benz and several other automakers, but significantly Mercedes-Benz, has made towards making that such an intuitive and getting closer to fully autonomous system is impressive. So, with all that to say, is the performance of this car, is the style and the comforts and the technology, which I laid out clearly in the interior walk around, which is very good, on par or better with the rivals. So for $108,550 to start for the 21 E63 S 4MATIC sedan, you are getting all the power and all the performance that I mentioned. Compare that to the 21 BMW M5 Competition, which is going to start at $105,000 and some change. It's going to make 617 horsepower, so another 14 horsepower more than this. 0 to 60 though is going to be right around the same. I'm behind some very slow people, at 3 seconds flat. Top speed is going to be 4 miles per hour higher at 190, and the fuel economy is somehow 1 mpg worse, even though it's kind of got the same powertrain going on. 4-liter twin-turbo V8, 4.4-liter twin-turbo. It's the 0.4 liters. That's what gets you in the fuel economy. 17 combined for that M5 Competition. Then we have the Audi RS7, which is going to start at $115,000. It's going to make less power, 591, and 0 to 60 is going to be slower, 3.6. Top speed is going to be slightly higher, 190 miles an hour, so equal with that M5 Competition. And then there is the 2021 Porsche Panamera Turbo S, turbo, just regular turbo. That's all new for 21, or not all new, but it's redesigned for 21, and that's making 620 horsepower. It's going to start much more expensive though at $175,000. Here's a good opportunity for me to turn around. $175,000 to start for that one, and you are getting that bit of extra power, so 17 more horsepower. 0 to 60 for that one is going to be slightly faster, 2.8 seconds, and the top speed is going to be higher at 190 miles an hour, maybe even higher than that. I think it's 190. Correct me if I'm wrong in the card, JD. So that is your spread. How do I think the E63S stacks up? I mean, certainly in performance, it's right there with all those rivals. It's better than the RS7, right on par with the M5, and just a tick slower than the Panamera Turbo, which costs way more. The comfort is going to be pretty near the top end of that segment. I think perhaps the most comfortable of that set, unless the M5 Competition for 21, which I haven't driven yet, I drove the 2020, has improved in terms of ride comfort. And then, man, what else is there? The technology, MBUX is at the top. It's just the best. It's got the most customization, so user-friendly. The only downside that I mentioned in the interior walk-around is no wireless Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. That's the only downside. So it really comes down to whether you like the styling of the E63. It's a bit flashy for my taste. I like to blend in a little more. And the driving experience, which is so competent, but again, leaves a little to be desired in terms of engagement through that steering wheel. And that's what might push me towards the M5 Competition, the subtleness and the tweaking of the electronic steering rack in that car. But it's going to be very, very close. This would be a close second for me at the just over $100,000 price. If you want to factor in the Porsche Panamera Turbo, save up your pennies, because it's a good one, but save up your pennies. And that is going to do it for this review of the 2021 E63 S 4MATIC Plus sedan. I said the whole name right again. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to have a bit more fun. Oh, yeah.